It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day and day 4 in Sunset Cliffs. And what a day it's been. Thank you all so much for your comments and your questions over the last 3 days. I'm going to try to address some of them today and then, more tomorrow. These pot rocks are just absolute art in and of themselves, aren't they? What I did here is I took this little myrtillo cactus crest, which is very shallow rooted and it's a cactus, and I planted it in a very, very thin pile, if you will, or just a little bit of, I just put a little bit of soil in there, planted it, and then I took the fiberglass and, staged all around it with the fiberglass. So this is something of an experiment. I think it's going to be fine. I mean, it's getting protection in there. It's obviously not going to get watered, but as a cactus, I'm hoping it won't need it. And it's just, such a wonderland of visual interest, isn't it? This Ruchia, I wanted to plant something low here because I didn't want anything to grow up and cover up our little vignette. And, then I just took my crassulas, cotyledons, and sedums, as I know that this is going to grow a little more robustly than this, which will grow a little more robustly than this, which will grow a little more robustly than this.
And maybe the Ruchia will spill over the side.
Yes, and in time the Ruchia might even give us some coverage over the side. And then back here, I wanted the same concept. I wanted to keep the little aloes and the little stacking crassulas and the little haworthias and this is a little Kalanchoe tomentosa. I wanted to keep these low pro so that they didn't grow up and cover up our crested Eve's needle. Now, the irrigation, you'll notice here that we have this hard line that runs all the way down, and then these little micros that are snapped into the hard line, and then the little tiny 1/4-inch line we're able to manipulate it and feed all of the plants. And it has little drippers that are just every 6 inches apart, and see how it kind of weaves up through here, and it comes up. With this little 1/4-inch line, you have a lot more flexibility to move through these tight tapestry areas.
Dad's running the irrigation now, but it's not on.
It's not on. Okay. So this line still has to be buried. The guys have just finished running the irrigation to everything.
But why isn't it buried? Because we have to check it first,
yeah,
right?
we take these little staples. These are commercial grade landscape staples. Staple everything in place. Greg is flushing the line.
It's working. Look here.
And you can see how the water is dripping out through those little holes. And Greg will set this to run about 15 minutes a couple of times a week until everything gets locked in. But once we're sure that all the lines are working and there are no clogs, then we'll come through with a trowel and we will bury all of these lines before we put our top dressing rock on. This agave cornelius, you guys were really impressed with the agaves, and they are so special. Our client Elaine loves variegated plants, as don't we all, right? Your concerns about the talavera were well founded, but I have faith in humanity, and knock on this rock, theft has not been an issue in all these years. 20 some odd years we've been doing this. We've not had a problem with that. Look at this. This mammillaria is so magnificent in that pot. And also, I appreciate your advice on how to irrigate the pots, but I don't want to. I put plants in here that really don't need it. It's just a hot mess. I undo irrigation in pots when I go into a new job because invariably the pots are going to get too wet. It's just not good. And if you plant things that don't need much or any water, you're fine. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. We have a client that is very interested and eager to care for her plants. So she may want to come out and put a little bit of water on this aloe and on the mangave down at the other end from time to time. But, you know, they'll let you know, won't they? They'll just turn deeper and deeper colors the more and more stress they get. This is a mangave falling waters. Lizette Lizette from Corona sent me a photo of hers, and it's about this big. It's just magnificent. So I found a falling waters at Roberts out at Planter Paradise, and very, very excited with that. Somebody suggested the driftwood might have been a little high, and I looked at it objectively and agreed that yes, it was. So I sunk the driftwood about 6 to 8 inches deeper into the ground, and then I also planted a little vignette right here to soften it a bit. I think this just really marries well with the trigona behind it. Another concern was that the ferox might get too big, but I am not worried about that. I know that this Bicarnia, our Aluaudia procera, our trigona, our ferox are going to grow together and just become absolutely masterful in size. Also with the ferox, we have a fairly narrow space to work in because we have a walk path on the other side too. So I couldn't push it too far back. Also didn't want to push it too far forward, so I think we found the sweet spot right there. What else have we got? Oh, so we also blew this out a little more. This is a shared space, so our client was concerned that we don't overplant this in the event that this neighbor moves or there becomes an issue. So I just did some simple things in here. That eaves needle back there was one I dug up out of the ground in the backyard with our client's permission. And then I just took all the leftover cotyledons, echeveria, and sedums and planted them between these two pot rocks. This echeveria, I went to Oasis today and I bought some more plants, and I don't remember what this one was called, but oh, good grief. She is such a beaut.
Let's go up.
Yeah, let's go up and take a look. Also, you'll notice we brought in some blue elf. You know, that's kind of a signature thing for us to take blue elf and wrap them around rocks. So the goal tomorrow is to get all of these lines buried and then our top dressing. Here is another mangave kaleidoscope. This, I wanted to plant something against Cullen's legs that wouldn't be lost. This variegated ivy is a lot, so I needed something that's going to pop, and I think that this does a great job of that. This Hesper aloe was desert flamingo. This was bigger and over there, and what we did is we divided it and put a piece back in here with some portulacaria. So that was our solution for these two smaller beds. Then Hannah and Luke and I all contributed to the tapestry work in this bed here. And this Aloe Plicatillus hybrid is going to be just insanely beautiful in a couple of years when it gets to be about this tall. Very excited for that. Here's another agave that I love using. It's Rum Runner. And this is one that stays low and it just throws off pups very tight to the mother. So it creates really, really beautiful stands of tight, compact, variegated plant material. It's a real winner if you can get it. And all these mangaves that you're gonna see, my apologies, I'm just learning. There's so many new ones out on the market and I'm not sure what most of them are called, but my goodness, they're wonderful. Oh, this, Echeveria agavoides Maria. This is Maria, isn't she special? Yeah, The leaves are so incredibly thick. It's just a beautiful, beautiful hybrid. And then we did go ahead and do the fireglass. You know, I know that fireglass is something that not everybody is into, but I think that talavera, cactus, and fireglass are about as close to perfect as you can get. And then our quichou con, our baby quichou con, our Ferdinand agave, that is so, so beautiful. My goodness. What?
Show the tapestry.
Oh yes, and then over here, this was Cullen, Kevin, and Mel over on this side. And this euphorbia, a mock variegated, was on my client's wish list, and I was hesitant because this will get like 100 feet tall. But it'll take a while, and we can manage it. You know, as long as we stay on top of it, I'm good, you know, with it getting to be about 6 feet, 7, 8 maybe. So I think it'll be good there for the foreseeable future. I also brought some plant material around this Dazzlerian longissimum because it just felt really lonely in that back corner. So I like the idea of some greenery coming up from behind that plant. Then we've showcased a blue glow, beautiful blue glow, some aloe cameronii. Look at that, so beautifully stressed. And then the rest is pretty much, with the exception of the mangaves, there are usual suspects in there. Then I went ahead and popped some fireglass in some of the little divots in the pot rocks, just a few, because it felt like the right thing to do. Oh, here we go. Here's Kevin. See how Kevin's burying the lines? Get that?
Like 3 to 4 inches.
Yeah, 3 to 4 inches down. This Netafim subterranean drip has built-in filters and pressure reducers, so we haven't yet in all these years had a problem with the lines clogging. It's a really good product, so we just don't want to look at it. The reason we bury it is for no other reason other than we don't want to see it. So this takes time, but then you just never know it's there. Oh my gosh, yes, and look at the pharaoh cactus. Also, I had some leftover flagstones, so I used them in some areas in the garden to kind of, you know, shore up some of my higher mounds. You've got to remember that too. You know, you can make your mounds tall, and you should, but you have to have some sort of retention so that your top dressing doesn't slide off on the ground. And Luke and Hannah spent a really long time stabilizing these flagstone. A very, very sandy soil underneath, and there was already weed barrier fabric. So we just shimmied them into place, and then our top dressing rock tomorrow will go in between the joints. Yes, and we are going to be, are we good with the chamois beige? We're going to be bringing in a new top dressing rock. I cannot wait for you to see it. I'm going to do, is it considered 3/8? 3/8 inch chamois beige, and then my splashes are going to be black 3/4 inch lava, against all of the kind of the creamy and the browns. She's got some black ironwork, black in her tiles. I just didn't feel like burgundy was right here, so I was going to either do Southwest brown or the chamois beige, and chamois beige it is. Well, you know what? We're getting ready to wrap it up. For today, lights on this one are going to be solar, so we aren't having to deal with that, and we're just going to spend the rest of the time now burying lines. This has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with day 4 in Sunset Cliffs. Remember, if you've got specific questions, please ask in the comments, and I'll do my best to get to all of them tomorrow. Bye, guys.